It's mid-April, and a young alewife is traveling back to his native spawning habitat. But as the alewife makes his way up Latimer's Brook, it becomes obstructed by a man-made object. The problem? An old mill dam is blocking its path. But wait! There may be another option. The alewife spots an alternate route. What is that weird metal structure, says the alewife. As all his other friends make their way up the weird metal structure, the young alewife follows. It was a trap! The young alewife found himself in a trapping hole. The alewife thought he was done for, but after waiting for what seemed like years, the trap started to move and he was dumped above the dam.
Dams affect the migration patterns of anadromous fish and limit their ability to reproduce. Anadromous fish are fish that leave their original habitats in rivers, migrating into the oceans, and then years later return to their original rivers to spawn. The presence of dams can prohibit their ability to return to their native rivers to spawn by blocking access to original rivers and slowing the flow of rivers, consequently disorienting the fish and deterring them from returning to their original spawning grounds. Anadromous fish include species such as Atlantic salmon, shad, rainbow smelt, alewife fish, and river herring.
The presence of dams can have negative side effects. They keep fish from migrating from their native rivers out into the ocean, which negatively impacts the physiology of the fish. The dams also prevent fish that have migrated out into the ocean from being able to return to their native rivers to spawn. This means they are unable to reproduce, resulting in severe population decline for the species. Not only do the dams block passage to and from native spawning grounds for the fish, but dams also can create stagnant waters, which cause them to be disoriented and unable to determine which direction to head.
The presence of dams negatively affect the migration of anadromous fish species, but they also have negative impacts on their natural environments in the rivers. The dams can cause buildups and trap many beneficial nutrients from reaching the fish's habitats. These buildups also prevent certain types of vegetation and growth that are commonly used by the fish from reaching their habitats, thereby blocking their access to the food and shelter that the plant life would normally provide. Dams also change the flow patterns of rivers and increase the water temperatures to levels that do not suit the anadromous fish species that would normally thrive in those areas. All of these alterations not only harm the environments for the anadromous fish species, but the new conditions that they create tend to suit predators of the anadromous fish, such as bass and pickerel, causing even further decline of the anadromous populations. While dams do pose a threat to various fish species, they also provide various benefits for our society. The biggest benefit that dams can provide for us is seen in the role that dams play in the creation of recreational facilities. Dams allow for the presence of bodies of water that can be used for recreational boating, skiing, fishing, and other outdoor activities. Dams also provide flood control for areas which are used to control the release of floodwaters held by the dam and divert them to prevent dangerous floods. They also create reservoirs that can hold water for essential purposes throughout communities. These reservoirs can be used for agricultural and irrigation and used for things such as municipal fire departments. They are also very useful for the production of hydroelectric power, which is a clean form of energy. Despite their many uses, the benefits of dams do not outweigh the costs they will have on the fish and their ecosystems who possess their own economic, cultural, historic, and recreational value. Fish play an essential part in the ecosystem, and the elimination of their species can affect other plant and animal species in that area.
Dams throughout the country are also aging significantly. In fact, according to the American Society of Civil Engineers, 70% of the dams in the U.S. will be over 50 years old by the year 2020. This puts many of them at high risk for causing dangerous floods. Not only are they dangerous, many of them are so old that they are no longer providing any of the benefits for the surrounding areas. Despite their age, the infrastructures are still in place, and they are having serious negative impacts on the environment, especially for the anadromous fish species. So how can you help? In order to ensure safe passage for fish upstream, groups like the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and Trout Unlimited help restore habitats and create fish passages for anadromous fish species. Fish ladders are water-filled structures that allow fish to pass up and over it in a series of steps. Fish like salmon move to the base of the concrete, timber, or aluminum staircase, and then swim or jump from step to step. Some systems may have switchbacks and turning pools, depending on the height of the dam. This system is most useful for dams that are still in use. For places where putting a fish ladder is not possible, organizations will often use trap and haul. Once again, the fish are attracted to the base of the fish ladder, they climb up the ladder where they can stay in pools or tanks, and then are transferred into specialized tanks and barges. This system allows the fish to be released the other side of the dam. This system is often used over a fish ladder because the fish are trapped, allowing scientists to monitor the fish populations before releasing them back into the dam. Dam removal is the preferable option when possible because it restores the natural hydrology of the river, can benefit the habitat and water quality, and certain fish, like smelt and sturgeon, do not climb fish ladders. This has been increasingly seen in New England and serves as the best option for dams that are no longer in use and decaying. As we look into the future, it is essential to preserve these type of migratory fish that play such a crucial role in our ecosystem, economies, histories, and culture. Only by supporting these national and local organizations with donations and services can we preserve habitats and save the fish. Let's make a change and get the alewife back home.